What's up? What's up? Say something coming in. Hit that like button, y'all. We'll get it in tonight. Make sure I hit that like button. We're gonna get started in a minute. Say something in the chat. I know y'all watching. Say where y'all from. About to get started as soon as the song over. All right. So what's going on? I ain't see nobody in the chat right now, but that's all good. No big deal. So I want to bring this topic up because a lot of times I feel like a lot of people got to YouTube. A lot of times people got to YouTube because of a breakup or a situation that, changed their path in life. A lot of times I always tell you guys to plan purpose program is you versus you. And when you go through something as a loss of a breakup or a family loss, a job loss, anything you go through, you have to rebuild. You have to look yourself in the mirror and welcome adversity. Don't let adversity keep you down because you will stay down in life, period. So today's we're going to be talking about how to rebuild from a breakup, like not no short-term breakup thing, but more or less of a long-term breakup. How can we rebuild from a long-term breakup or just being with somebody for so long? How can we rebuild from that? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times a long-term breakup is like a funeral for some people. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times people don't be understanding that. Like you go through something real bad in your past and now even, moving towards your future, you have to do the work so you won't be traumatized moving forward. So, make sure you guys focus on the things you can control. You can't focus on another person or what they doing and all that. So I'm going to have a couple callers call in. I know Mike's going to call in, a couple other people. We ain't talking about training tonight. We're talking about how to get over a breakup. But I appreciate that. If you want to join me on the other stream, we're on Stack 44 on YouTube. And we're streaming there. We're going live. So if you want to call in and join the conversation, we'll have a panel coming in a second. So if you want to talk about how you recover from a breakup or a loss of a job or anything, a loss of a loved one, call in. So yeah, I was trying to get other people from the other stream to call in, guys. So what's up? What's up? But this is a big topic because I feel like a lot of times, like I said, our turning point in our life comes from something that we thought was promising, and then it just blew up in our face, and we had to rebuild from it. Like I was married 8 years, I got divorced, really 2018, but it was over in 2016. So I had to rebuild myself back up after being with somebody since 2009 to 2018. So I had to rebuild myself, and sometimes it doesn't take the next year, the next month. It just takes some time, and then you got to refocus yourself. You have to get therapy. You have to get in avenues like this YouTube space that we're in to think positive of how you're gonna retrain your mind. You actually have to realize that warm body next to you ain't there no more. A lot of times that shit, even though it might have been for the good for you, but regardless of the fact, your dopamine of your body of always having that, that person next to you, you gotta release that dopamine, because when you used to having somebody by you, you gotta understand that at the end of the day, the change is gonna happen no matter what, no matter if it's good or bad. So I don't know what Mike doing. Let me see if Mike gonna come on in so we get started. I see Catherine might be in the house tonight. We'll see what's going on. Like I said, anybody want to join from the other stream, just go to Stack 44 on YouTube, and you could call into the show tonight, and we're talking about how to recover from a breakup, how you rebuild your life from a breakup. So I'm going to get started in a minute. But yeah, I would say for me, I definitely found YouTube in like 2018, and I found self-improvement videos, just dating advice, realizing that I wasn't the only one going through stuff. I feel like it was a life-changing moment for me, and I always give good advice with people and stuff. So I always felt like I could add my 2 cents in on my experience. My parents was married over 30 years before my daddy passed away, and my grandparents were married over 70 years. So I felt like I seen the blueprint in my life, but then I experienced marriage myself. And then I feel like I can bring that to the table. So I know, I stay in the gym, I stay healthy, homeowner, I try to keep my finances up. But at the same time, it may look good on the outside, but it's a lot of hard grinding that we got to do to rebuild our lives, regardless of the fact of whatever it is. So hopefully we hear a couple people's testimonies of how they rechange their life after they went through the breakup. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. And I'll get to a late start tonight, but it's all good. Hello, everybody that's coming in from the other live stream. If you want to come on over here to Stack 44, if you want to stay right there, it's all good. Let me see. Mike was on the line. What happened? Let's find out. I just called him. He hung it up on accident. Hello. If you want to call in, call in. All right, Mike, he should join us in a minute, but And let me see, before I start, I'm going to see if Will want to join. And then we're going to get started. I ain't waiting on nobody else. We live. You good, or you want to call back?
Yeah, I was just about to call you, dog. I just got in the car.
Okay, cool.
You want me to call you back, or
No, we started. We about to start right now. Mike was online, but I lost him. But we doing this how to rebuild from a breakup. So I know you had a couple of breakups in your life. I know you can add to the conversation tonight. So I mean, we all ain't perfect. We all rebuild from some type of trauma of relationships. And I feel like relationships have that dopamine when you used to a person being around you. Then you got to release that shit and just do what's best for you. So, you got anything on the topic that you want to add before we start going down the list of things, how to rebuild from a breakup?
I mean, go ahead and go down your list. I mean, like I'm going to say the same thing. You said dopamine. It's like crack, man. It's like an addiction. Because love is an addiction. Let's call it what it is. I mean, you get used to it, and then it's like you get a fix. And then when you don't get that fix, man, ain't nothing going to replace it. Like, you can try to go out, and like I say, go down your list, and man, we'll definitely get into it, man.
All right. Okay. So the first thing you got to ask yourself, I feel like, when you go through a breakup is, did you give it your all? You know what I'm saying? Did you do everything you had to do? Hold on, we got Mike coming in. What's up, Mike?
Where we at, bro? Where we at?
We just starting. So, we just starting. You got anything before we got starting, how you rebuild from a breakup? You want anything to say about how you rebuild from a breakup before we get started here?
Oh, yeah, man, absolutely. First of all, when you're in a breakup, you got to give yourself time to heal. Most of all, don't contact the person that you broke up with. Just take time to heal and take time to work on yourself and reflect on what happened. And keep in mind that, it's a game of life. So when you're playing in the game of life, you got to look at how ways you can positively bounce back from different situations that you may come across, and that's pretty much it. But if you don't work on yourself and learn from whatever it is that happened, situations beyond your control and shit, whatever it is, just always learn how to bounce back and make yourself a better person at the end of the day.
Facts. All right, so the first thing I want to touch on is when you do go through a breakup, you got to take ownership. Ask yourself, did you do everything you could do to make it happen? Because if you don't, you're going to live in some type of regret if that person moves on and does better or whatever. But at the same time, you don't want to be the cause of your breakup. I done had some breakups in my life, but I felt like I took advice from some good people, and I gave it all I had so I could walk away and just rebuild, even though it might not have been all my fault. The bad part about a breakup is I feel like a lot of times we want closure, and sometimes you just don't get closure from people. A lot of times when you break up with somebody, you don't get closure. They don't give you the closure that you need, and sometimes you're searching for it, especially when you feel like you did everything right. So, I want to ask Will, how you feel about, do you gotta really literally give yourself a self-reflection about what went wrong in the relationship?
Yeah, so I mean, and highlight what parts of the relationship went good, went bad. What could you have done them better? When you first break up, Chloe, you should be doing an assessment. What did I learn from this? What could I have improved? What could I have made better? And then at the same time, here's the other thing, Scott. Every relationship ain't always meant for you to keep. Some relationships are there just to teach you something that you want to take to the next one. So you can't always be mad that it didn't work. It's just more so, what did you do? And what could you have done to make it, better? Or even if you did all of what you could do, you got to make sure that, okay, what did I take from this? Because everything in life is supposed to teach you a lesson.
Facts. You got anything you want to add on that?
Say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike. It's your turn.
Another thing that a lot of people have to reflect on, and I'm glad you said that, Will, because it took me a while when I was running from my past breakups in relationships. The one thing that you have to always remember too, during a breakup, is acceptance. Don't fight it, because if you're fighting it, then you might be going through some rough shit, like the same way how I went through some rough times and rough situations in relationships. You have to accept the fact of what it is and move the fuck on before it gets worse, because it might be worse if you stay, and how will you know if you'll have something better if you still stay in that situation? Every situation, like Big Will said, ain't meant for you. Maybe you're meant for something greater along the line, but you'll never know that because you didn't work on yourself. So you have to accept the fact of what it is. That person don't want to be with you no more, and you may not want to be with that person. Just accept life for what it is and move on, because this is your coming. You know what I'm saying? This is your coming. This is something that's coming to you. You can't fight it. That's destiny. You have to accept it.
Facts. A lot of times that was my next one. Really, my next thing was to talk about exceptions. Like, you got to accept the reality of what it is. I mean, I think when I was married, I had to literally accept that she's gonna probably take my child, live somewhere else, and when she started dating, my child is gonna be around somebody else. I had to really accept that. Like, a lot of times people don't accept it. You gotta accept it before you move on. You have to accept it towards the end while you're in a relationship, because a lot of times people they just only they get selfish on moving on, but they don't really accept the reality of that this person that you're with might end up being with somebody else, and your child might be around somebody else if you got children involved. So acceptance, you got to accept that as a man or a woman, that, hey, if I don't do my part, or if it break up, then he's going to be around other females, especially if you got a child. Now, if you don't got a child involved, is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But if you do have a connection like with a child, you have to accept that you can't be responsible for her household or his household. You gotta mind your damn business. How you feel about accepting when things are tied along? I'll start with Mike, because I know Mike got kids.
Yeah, man. Like, I knew the situation for what it was. I got kids by two different females, man. And it's like, it shit's on a flip. Like, they don't mind doing it to you. And that's no disrespect to the ladies, but they don't mind doing it to you. They're around another man, or, they're going in a different situation in a relationship, and they're around other people. You got to learn to accept that and not be so reactive, because, certain people that do actually rock like that, they might look for that as a trigger to trigger you, but it works both ways too. She could be on the flip. You might give her the honey that is on her shit, and she likes being around your kids. And a lot of the women, for me personally, from my experience, I have yet to meet a woman that, as far as being in a relationship, that hasn't gotten triggered by having the father of those kids being with another woman and having that same woman around your kids. They get easily triggered about that, but again, like I said before, they have yet to feel and understand and accept that it is what it is. Just like you said, that they have to accept that it is what it is. I know my exes, they with whoever they're with, you know what I'm saying? God and peace be unto them, and whoever their next victim is. But the acceptance part of me being with another woman and having that woman around my kids, they have to learn to accept that. Just like the woman that I'm with, she's an acceptance of me having kids by another woman. But a lot of times, people find that hard to accept that this is what it is. But as long as both sides are playing that part, then it shouldn't be a problem. But, that's not always the case. So you have to accept the fact that when the relationship doesn't work out and there's a little one that's in the middle of that situation, both sides have to accept that, because at that point it ain't about you being in a relationship with someone else. It's about you being in a relationship with someone else, but you still got kids, so you're still tied in some way, form, or fashion, and you both have to learn and accept that from both sides.
Facts.
And when there's shit involved, you have to step in, because you're still involved. Even though you may not be there in a physical form, you're still there in any way, form, or fashion, because you got kids tied to that individual. So there's no real way of just cutting it off. Some people just say fuck it and walk away. But, for the ones that are involved, it's straight like that. You're still there, even though you're not there. You're still there.
Facts. Will, you got anything to add on that? Because I'm a monkey branch in a second, but you got anything to add, Will?
I mean, I think like how you started off. I mean, one of the biggest things is you gotta accept that your fucked up ain't always gonna be somebody else's same fuck up, and vice versa. So So, hey, that's just part of the game, like you said, Mike. You gotta understand that, like, once the rapping is done, like, you are subjecting everything that you used to have and had control of. Now it's kind of out of your hands, and you gotta be okay with whatever necessarily comes your way.
And sometimes I feel like I meet women that have a harder time accepting the breakup when they have children. And they be like, I met this one young lady, she was saying her ex, when she allowed him to get his daughter, she got to go with him if he's going to be somewhere because she don't know if he's going to have his girlfriend around. And I'm like, he going to get the courts involved. You know, I mean, I know, you know, you got to trust the man. If you trust to have a seed by a man, you got to trust the man that if it didn't work out, he's going to be in the best interest. If you trust him with your life, you got to trust him that he's going to take care of his child. You know what I mean? But, you know, some women are very territorial, especially the first 2-3 years when having a child, and they feel like they got to be, you know, cop blocking the situation because it didn't work out. Or, you know, I don't know. I don't know if you guys experienced that, but or heard of that before. But, you know, you heard that before, Mike? That
yeah, I did. I heard of it before, and I actually experienced it when I was in court. You know, for some other shit, not really anything criminal, but it was involving the kids. I was actually surprised to, you know, hear, you know, when my ex was doing some like devious shit, trying to withhold my kids from me and stuff. When I got the courts involved, because I'm like, nah, this ain't what we agreed upon. So, you know, I filed, made a show cause, and the judge asked me what happened, and I said, yeah, she tried to withhold my son from me because she didn't want me around. She didn't want the girl that I was dealing with at that time around my son. And I said, listen, you know, I told the judge, and the judge, you know, understood, because even the judge had, you know, a kid by, you know, somebody else, and she had, like, really put it in my ex's head that, look, you and him ain't together no more. You have to accept the fact that he will be with someone else in his life, just like I'm sure you with someone in your life. So my ex kept on, you know, fighting it. She said, listen, honey, there's nothing you can do about it. If he's with somebody else and he's happy with them, we have to learn to accept that and move on. And she was just fighting it, like, and then she turned away from the judge and turned to me and said, well, I just need to know who you're around. I said, well, when I gave you the chance to meet her, you weren't trying to hear me out. So at this point in time, I'm just here to let you know that it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. We're not together. It doesn't matter. We have to accept it and just move on. Just like I met your boyfriend already. That's because I'm involved. You chose not to meet with her, and now she doesn't want to meet you, and I don't really know nothing to do with you except for the kids.
Right.
And that's just what it is. You have to learn to accept that I'm with somebody else now. That's life.
Facts. I mean, that's a big key, you know, accepting the whole situation and understanding, you know, the whole dynamic of it. The next thing I will talk about is staying out that person's business. You know, you just can't be on, you know, if you coming in from the other stream, if you coming in from the other stream, we're on Stack 44 on YouTube. We got a call-in number. If you want to call in, touch on this topic, Stack 44 on YouTube. But the next thing I'll talk about is staying out your ex's business. You know, like sometimes people just be all on their damn social media, stalking their goddamn Facebook, their Instagram. Like you got to like let things, you have to get, you know, you have to get a no contact in your mind that I don't need to have no type of contact with this person, especially if you don't have no kids. Just no contact, period. Because all you do is block your blessings for the next person that come along for your future. Like Tate say, how you gonna learn from your ex? You can be friends later, but you got to give that cooling off period. And I think a lot of times people don't give a cooling off period, and it destroys their pair bonding with the next person they deal with. So you got to get a chance to give a cooling off period, especially when y'all don't have no ties like kids and shit. You got to give a cooling off period. Even if you got kids, you got to keep it business, keep it like a business, like, you know, co-parent like it's a business, and you on day shift, she on night shift. Boom, co-parent like a business. So I'm gonna start with Tate, and then Tate, I got another question for you. I know you probably dated people with kids and you didn't have kids. Did you get attached to the kids, and was that hard to accept as well?
So let me answer your second question first. So the thing is, yes, I definitely get attached to kids, because the beauty of kids is kids only gravitate towards good people, or they gravitate towards who they identify with, right?
Yeah.
So for me, the kids have always gravitated towards. So yeah, I ain't gonna lie, that's one reason why, you know, I hate to say it, I make that mistake of almost kind of reaching back out or being concerned. Let me just be honest. Sometimes I'm gonna call it what it is, it's manipulation. Like, you be wanting to be like happy birthday to the kids, but you really just want to talk to the Joe or, you know, to the chick. But, you know, you use the kids. Same thing the way how they would use the kids against you. You use it sometimes for your own reasons. So, I mean, it's like, you know, you do get attached, right?
Yeah, facts.
You break up. It is sometimes it's hard to just cut it off. Especially when I was a person that, like, when you wanted to talk about something, clear your hair, or you want to do something, hey, that was the person I talked to. Now I don't have that person. And, you know, I think what sometimes makes it hard is because when we get into these relationships, we tend to, I'm not going to say cut off our friends, but we tend to, like, you know, we tend to make our spouses and our partners our worlds for to a certain degree, that when you need your friends, you kind of like, damn, you know, who can I talk to? Because now I didn't put my man, or I didn't put somebody else kind of off to the back burner. And now I'm like, damn, hey, what's up? I need to turn you back on because now I ain't got what I used to have before, so now I need you. So, I mean, you know, like I said, it's just one of those things that, like, you really got to do the homework and say, you know, what did I do wrong and what did I do correct? And then what can I have learned, you know, and just be honest, you know, and then, like you say, you know, stay away from that person. I mean, it is hard. I'm not going to lie. Like, people try to act like it's just as easy as just, forget them and, delete their number. Man, that shit don't work because we all know how to find them numbers. Shit, I know I used to text, you know, the chick lives in Ohio. I only know for some 216 numbers. You know what I'm saying? So I know your number. I know how to get back in touch with you. So you just got to, you know, cut that whole thing off.
Facts. You gotta look at it like a, I don't even know how to try and get an analogy, but you just gotta keep it moving forward. Don't look back. Look forward. Your future is forward. Your past is back. So, but learn from the past, like Tate said. What you got, Mike, on that? You know what I'm saying? Stand out their business and make sure they stand out your business.
I mean, me personally, myself, the way how I handled my shit like, you know what I'm saying, like a little bitch at first. You know, that it is what it is. But
hey, man, Mike, look, before I ain't even trying to cut you up, but I acknowledge you and I salute you, brother. Because most dudes don't want to act like we ain't bitches at sometimes. We get kind of the bitches when we break up. But thank you, brother. I'm gonna shut up now, man.
Yeah, it is what it is. You know, first I handled it like a little bitch. You know what I mean? But then after I saw the good that it's gonna bring me by not blocking my blessings like Stacks and Will said, you know, you gotta learn to accept that. You know, how do you become a bigger and better man rather than being a bitter and a man with no understanding? When you have that understanding, you far surpass and reach another level that not a lot of people are willing to accept. And when they're not willing to accept that, they automatically block their blessing. So I say, you know what? She probably was somebody else. I don't know. I don't care. I don't want to know. So let me move on. Let me cut all ties except for those ties that go back to my son, because we're still only linked by that. As far as anything else, it has to be done through text. Other than that, don't call me. I got them on block. I don't accept calls from them. I got their calls on block. If I check on it every once in a while to see if there's an emergency, then you could only call me during an emergency. Other than that, I keep it straight like a business. If you want to get into contact with me, you either see me when the exchange is made and do something else. I handle it like a business. Other than that, I don't really want no ties to you because I don't want to get sucked back in. I don't want that negative energy around me, period. I don't want to start my growth by trying to deal or debate with an individual that doesn't have that understanding and they're not on the same playing field. I could understand if it was like on a good note, like, okay, cool, hey, he needs this. Do you think he could be here for this? Hey, this, that, and the third. Oh, this is what he did. I'm just letting you know what he did and everything. And we keep it like that. But my situation was not like a lot of people out there. I got individuals that are unaccepting of what it is, maybe a bit on the, mental side. So for me, for my own sanity, I choose to hit the gym, find other outlets, just be there for my son. Don't worry about doing what they do. It's going to eventually catch up with them. I don't want that shit on my conscience, knowing that I was doing some foul-ass shit, because I haven't did anything foul. I just have to accept what it is. If they don't want to do with me no more, that's cool. I don't want to do with them. I want something better out of life. So I learned to accept that and just move forward. Keep it business. Straight business. Like Stack said, if it ain't about the kid, I don't really want to hear it. No jokes, no none of that. Don't call me, don't text me. Just you cut off completely. Only thing I want to do is just get access to my son. That's it.
Facts. Well, another thing, the next thing I will talk about is sometimes in a long-term relationship, we're going to need therapy. We're going to either need therapy or somebody to talk to, somebody vent to in good faith, not somebody that's going to just be jumping sides and make it seem like you are perfect. But sometimes you got to vent about what you went through for the exceptions. The exception is going to take therapy. The exception is going to take you venting and telling people that, yeah, I went through this breakup, but at the end of the day, it didn't kill me. It made me stronger. But this is what I could have did better, because sometimes you're like an old school song with Gerald Levert. You was made to love somebody else. Like Tate said earlier, that sometimes when you lose a person in your life or a person walk out your life, it shapes you for somebody else later. So just like that song that I'm talking about. But you got to learn how to vent in a proper manner, not in an angry manner. So get therapy, vent to the right people. May vent to somebody at work that you don't really know like that ain't going to judge both sides. You just going to, sometimes it's good to vent to a stranger sometimes. But, hopefully you trust a stranger. But I'm going to ask, I'm going to jump on Tate and ask him how you feel about therapy and venting.
So here's my thing. Don't water it down, son. Go to a counselor or a therapist. Don't talk to just anybody, right? Because usually, what they say, familiarity breeds whatever, convenience or however they say. My thing is go talk to somebody professional, right? Because they can dissect and they can hear things that you think you're not saying, but they know exactly what's missing. Your friend, your homie, your whoever, I'm not gonna lie, they gonna take your side most times. I mean, I have friends that was going through divorces, and I kind of knew both sides of the story. But I always try to just be like, not even on the, I got your back or I think your side to it. I just say vent to it. You know what I'm saying? Get it out. But when I was going through, what I really needed and what I did was, because I was engaged, it didn't work. It was dysfunction on both sides of it. But what helped me the most was when I started talking to Kate. Kate was my therapist. It turned into a joke with some of my friends. I'm like, I got a Kate date. You know what I'm saying? Because Kate was able to pinpoint not only where it was wrong in the relationship, but even prior to me even getting in a relationship, things that I needed to work on for myself to say, hey, this is what is going to be a nemesis for you or your stumbling block. So I'm always going to say, go get there. Go get a counselor. You know what I'm saying? Because like I say, a lot of times it really be us. And I think to the other point that I was going to say
Facts. Mike, you got anything to add on therapy or talking to somebody or venting, just venting?
Real shit. I'm gonna let everybody know whenever you're doing things, whenever you're going in life and everything, it doesn't hurt to talk to somebody, even though you may know a person. You might want to talk to somebody who you confide in and explain your side of the story, because there's always two sides to every story. But you gotta have it to where it's somebody that's professional that actually knows what they're talking about, or somebody that doesn't really know you closely. And you'll see the differences of who's trying to butter shit up, or who's just telling you, hey man, look, if you want me to tell you what actually went on and tell you how do you reflect on yourself, man, you gotta get them with that chain snatch flow. Get that shit off your chest, man. Say what you really had to say. Say how, what you could have did. Because sometimes there's no stopping the inevitable. If a motherfucker gonna break up with you, they're gonna break up with you. If they want to go ahead and monkey branch and do whatever they want to do because they feel like the grass is greener on the other side, let them go. You can't keep nobody that don't want to be kept. And that's where you have to learn where acceptance comes in to making yourself a better person, because as quick as they left, somebody else better is going to be coming along, providing that you work on yourself first. And don't bring all of that last baggage into the new relationship, because that's going to cause even more stress. But as far as speaking to somebody that's professional, that's actually went through relationships, and actually experienced breakups, it's all a part of life. You just got to learn how to get through it. It'll affect us more when we get older, but not really so much when you're kids. There's no use of crying over spilled milk if you know that shit was going to spill, or you was going to drink it while it was sour. If it was sour and you was going to drink it, wouldn't you be glad that you fucking spilled that milk rather than drunk it and got sick? That's how I feel about toxic people, man.
Facts. Well, I will say I agree with both of y'all, but I still say if you can't afford it, like find somebody, a life coach, somebody that's reasonable, somebody on a YouTube channel, something. But if you do feel somebody's spirit at work that you can vent to, that really professionally, but y'all talk a little bit here and there, that's a start to like vent to get to know something. But at the same time, at the end of the day, you need professional help. At the end of the day, you're gonna need that. But because sometimes God talked to you through other people. So I feel like not just your therapist, somebody else can point you in the direction to keep you on a straight and narrow about, because everybody's been through something. It's a story behind everybody's face, and everybody been through something. So all my shortcomings is helping somebody else, so they won't have to go through the same thing I went through. So remember that, always stay open and honest with people. If they vent to you, tell them how you feel, because that's part of doing God's work. So I feel like that's very important.
Here's my thing, right? I agree to a certain degree, and I'm gonna tell you why I say a certain degree. You gotta be careful who you vent to at work.
Oh yeah.
Right? So here's my thing, right? So when I was going through my
that's why I said though, Tate. But not to cut you off, I said you have to feel that spirit before you vent to somebody. You just don't. You know what I'm saying? I just know what you're saying. I want to try to cut you off, but I'm basically saying you have to feel somebody's spirit that you can trust them. But at the same time, they could stab you in the back too, though. But go ahead, Tate.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. You said work twice. That's what I'm like. I'm not saying.
It could be it really could be the gym. It could be work. It could be anywhere. Be honest. It could be at the golf course. You know what I'm saying?
But see, what I'm getting at is like, be careful at work. And see, here's the thing, right? You never know who will listen to this platform later. And the reason why I'm saying be careful at work, particularly at work, when I was going through what I was going through, I was talking to one of my dudes who's a same level employee, right? He became my manager, right? And his rationale for not wanting to promote me to a different degree or a different level when he had the opportunity to was because I told him too much about what was going on. He said, I felt like your personal stuff overshadowed the job. So that's why I'm saying, like, be careful with that whole work thing, because I've been through that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying, like, I'm not saying you can't trust people at work. I'm saying just be careful, because it's two-sided with that. Like, not only coworker fall out, you know what they're gonna do. Let's call it what it is. They're gonna run your shit in the finish. I mean, run it in the middle. That's what I say. I was going to say, go to the professional route. And here's the thing, right? If you work, if you have like insurance from your job, you can find counsel. Here's the way to go about it. If you feel like, oh, I really don't want to do that right. If you go to work and you say, hey, I need to find a counselor, I'm having family issues. That's how you get your job to pay for that type of thing. Ask me how I know. That's what I did for the date thing that I had. You know, it was a family work thing. So you just gotta be a little bit slicker on how you go about it through, let's say, finding a counselor, but you can definitely find that. You know, that's all I gotta say.
Facts. Like I say, it's always good to get that professional help. But if somebody feel the spirit, because I ain't learned shit from people that don't. I learned some straight stuff from some wisdom from some dudes, old school dudes who've been married 30 years at the job and told me some things that, hey, the life period ain't about a breakup, just period. Like, always stay open to hearing something, not to cut Tate off, but Tate's right. But you got to watch who you give your information to. All right, moving on. At the end of the day, at some point, we might think that going back to our ex is the best thing to do or try to do. And be honest, at that point, when it's a breaking point, you should never try to worry about getting your ex back. You need to get yourself back to order. And you need to work on yourself. And now, if time go past and y'all reconnect, cool. But if you live your life from the day after y'all break up that you just, I got to get her back. I got to get her back. I got to get him back. I got to get him back. You are literally setting yourself up for failure, because at the end of the day, you'll reconnect and then you'll have the same problem. So you have to return it to some well, I won't say, you want to reconnect with yourself, because when you reconnect with yourself, you will know if that relationship was for you in the first place. So I'm gonna ask Mike about this one, and I'm gonna go to Tate next. But how you feel about going back to your ex? Is that a bad thing, or you should be focusing on you and only you? And if it happens, it happens.
I mean, I would honestly say, you know, depending on how bad the relationship, how bad was the breakup, you know, because sometimes some people may actually hold themselves accountable and be like, you know what, you know, maybe I broke up with that person for the wrong reasons, but in the situations that I was in, I mean, it was like to the point of no return. You know, I didn't really want to get back with them. At one point, I actually admitted to myself that what are the benefits of actually getting back with this individual that I broke up from? And there was no benefit. And I'm actually glad that it did happen, because I don't want to be stuck in a situation where there's no progression. And what I mean by no progression is, if you can't get that cooperation like you would out of an individual that you're supposed to be hiding with, that's supposed to know who you are, and they're counterproductive, then, you know, that's not going to work. You're going to always forever be stuck in that situation, and it's not a happy place to be. So, being that they broke up with me, I guess they thought as them freeing themselves, but I actually freed myself, because I said, okay, this is how I'm going to be living for a while, so let me work on myself, and it's working. Like, you know, the situations when I was with that individual, there was no progression. But as I branched off to doing other things rather than just keeping focus on them, I actually worked on myself, and it's for the better. You know, I got certain opportunities that's open to me. A lot of them have caused me to become a greater person. And never focus on your last relationship, because that's when the old you died. You have to look forward to the new you, and how your new you is going to bring you new things and new forms of happiness, and, you know, have somebody there that's going to be your peace rather than your problem.
Facts. Because hey, that was tight what you just said, in. What you got, Will? On should you reconnect with a person or just focus on you, and then if it happens, it happens?
I'm gonna say, like I said, Mike, I think he hit it out the park again. Only thing I can add to it is, I'm going to say you can reconnect with your ex as long as it's been that's a natural point of time or break between the ending of the relationship and y'all reconnected, right? So for me, I would say minimum of a year. I don't care if y'all dated for 5 years and y'all broke up 1 month. You need to wait the other 11 too. Here's the thing, like I think to Mike's point, there should be growth, right? So when y'all talk, or if y'all should talk, or y'all happen to talk, and y'all thinking about getting back together, there should be points of growth, and y'all should be able to exactly say where have you grown at. The other thing you want to definitely check for, depending on how things were, is the whole level of resentment. Depending on, like you say, how things happened, how things ended, there may be some resentment there. And the last thing you want to do is sit there trying to fight for somebody to forgive the past. A lot of what happens, or at least what comes up in those talks and those realizations, is really about that person. Regardless of how, like you said, it's all about you. You gotta grow. You gotta evolve. You gotta be better than what you were. You know what I'm saying? Regardless if they do it or not. So until you get to that point where you can actually say like, hey, I messed up, or hey, you messed up, or hey, we both messed up. Hey, it was my fault on this, but the way we came at it or the way we dealt with it was incorrect. Like until you can do that, I mean, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So that's it.
Facts. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Like just holding accountability on both sides is a good thing, because at the end of the day, the grass is always not green on the other side. Sometimes you just gotta water your own. So, by watering your own is just doing the work and make sure you're the best person you could be for that relationship if it is a reconnection. So, because at the end of the day, if you just go like a dope fiend back to the person and not change, you're gonna go back to the same old habits. So, you definitely gonna have to make a change if you wanna, even uphold yourself to be better. You gotta make a change for yourself. So that's a good quality to like catch on, is just work on you. Because at the end of the day, the first relationship you have with anybody is yourself before you can have it with anybody else. So period. Control your feelings is the next thing I want to talk about. Is I know about the acceptance. Like a lot of times when people miss the acceptance part, a lot of times people don't control their feelings when they going through the breakup or that time period of no contact. They end up relapsing, trying to check and see what they doing. May start shooting the text out, or they might get in their feelings because they might be out and about one day and they might run into that person or see that person out at a bar, or they around some other guys or whatever, having girls' night out, whatever, or guys' night out. Sometimes people gotta control your feelings if it comes down to it. So I'm gonna talk to Mike on this one. How you feel about a person should control their feelings?
Well, I mean, an individual should control their feelings, because if they don't have the ability to control their feelings and being reactive rather than proactive, you gotta say to yourself, I accept that. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna, just try to reach out to them, because I made those mistakes before.
Hold on, Mike. Hold on real quick. We'll try and get back in. All right, Mike. Now, what you say, you made the mistakes before?
Yeah, I made those mistakes before by reaching out to certain individuals or whatever and be like, hey, look, and then the reality kicked in. Those people didn't really want to be involved. They was already, moved on to whatever they wanted to be into. So I had to learn to accept that and say to myself, okay, let me reflect why and how did I make this mistake. I made this mistake by being reactive off of those emotions. Sometimes I'll be angry, like, oh, I'll get them bad and this. No, you have to be grown about it. If you're a grown individual, you show more strength by staying in your own frame, whether you're feminine or masculine, and you hold that shit down. Even though it's gonna hurt, that's life. That's the reality of it. You have to hold that shit down, say, okay, it is what it is. Let me just walk away. You show more strength in that, and you never know. maybe that relationship with that other individual ain't working out, but that's not for you to know. Your progression is someone else getting where you gotta get it and where you're gonna get it good. Provided if you work hard on yourself and that will come back to you. Who knows? Maybe this person will see, hey, you know what? They showed strength by walking away. They probably got a fucking option. And I did. I just didn't believe in myself to say, you know what? I got it going on right now. I got options. I don't have to deal with that. And then sure enough, after a couple months by, I start getting texts from all the numbers I erased. Hey, what's up? What you doing tonight? Other shit I can't really disclose right now because I know, this is Stack 44 channel. You got to keep it clean. When they knock it down 43, get up to that 44. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. You got to learn to accept that and don't be so reactive when you see that other individual because you don't really know what they're going through. Let them live their life. You just work on yours and live yours to the fullest extent. You know you're going to live it up, but do it proactively. Don't be on some reactive. Being reactive yields no results. It only brings counterproductivity. It's just being backwards. When you're progressing and you're proactive, you say, okay, cool, this happened. All right, I'm going to go about it this way. That's how people of, how should I say, an abundant mindset live. They have to have that abundant mindset, even through life. Like when you go for a job application and you don't get accepted for that job or that position that you always wanted, you can't just blow up about it. You got to say, okay, that ain't worked out, but let me try this over here. And that's how it usually works out for the better. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Facts. Tate, you good with that? Controlling your feelings? You got anything else to add?
No, I mean, I think that's once again, he hit it out the park. I ain't got nothing to add.
All right. So moving on, this is everything you got to get out doing the breakup process when you break up with somebody. Now I want to move on to the rebuilding part. And like I said before, and I'm going to reiterate it, you got to start a relationship with yourself. And the first thing you got to do is have a plan of how you're going to move. So if you coming from a long-term relationship, living with a person, marriage, you got to have a plan on how you're going to move. You got to set new goals, set new experiences, put yourself in position to do what you love to do. And basically things will come to you, just like Mike said. If you just focus on, a new you and reconnecting with your own self, things will come to you eventually if you just go out and do the work. So, I want to talk to Tate, and I know you've been through a couple breakups, so you talk about the therapy part, but can you remember one of the goals that you put up in front of you that you want to accomplish after a breakup? Is Tate there?
So, for me, it is. So for me, I'll be honest with you. So one of the things that I didn't like about a breakup was the name calling that happened between both of us, right? So I'll be honest, verbal abuse. I didn't kind of hold my own self down, so BS. So one of the things that she said was, "You fat." Right? And I mean, we all get it, weight is what it is. But I told myself, I'm never let somebody else call me fat again in life. It's stuff like that I looked at it and think, you know what? You're not gonna be able to say, can't nobody ever tell me I'm fat. Or one of the things she said was, I made sure that hey, I started taking care of my health. I started, they say I'm always on a job. I got a promotion, I got a great job. So it's I'm not gonna lie, I use that negativity as my motivation and my springboard. Just hey, ain't nobody ever gonna say this to me. Now they can't say it. I mean, it is what it is. But I'm in a different place where it's it won't affect me. So that's all I got to say to that.
All right, Mike, what goals did you set after a breakup that got you out of it? That the new goals that gave you a new path in life?
Man, let me tell you. First of all, I I came down where I came from, and there was no opportunities that where I was living. You know, as far as having a career, a majority of those were taken, or I just pretty much got shut down because of the economy being all messed up. So once I moved to a different area, and you know, I was living there. You know, I had my kids there and everything, and things just shut down for me after the relationship. I said, you know what? Now's the time I can really focus on myself and on my goals. I got my career. My goals were to get out of that financial situation that I was into. Now it's looking a lot better. I've established more of my freedom on the credit side, and I'm able to do more things and make more maneuvers. I actually dealt with some people internationally. I got to shake hands with governors, mayors. I got to really actually meet some powerful people in very powerful positions to actually help me achieve the goal by getting advice from them. And when you're around people that come up, that are really up there, and you ask for advice and they give you advice on how to do things, it starts to show. It starts to rub off on you. And that helped me become a better person to where other people started to notice, especially the ones that didn't really gravitate towards me. I'm talking about people in the past relationships that I dealt with. They started to look at me like, wow, this nigga's really growing. Like, I don't really like him anymore. Like, I hate him even more now. So you really start to see who's going to show you who they really are.
Facts.
So you have to remain positive and move forward. You always got to push forward because not everybody's going to like you in life. You have to make sure that you become the better person. Don't worry about them. You stay healthy. You set goals for yourself. Right now, I got 3 houses. I came up here in this state with no house. You know, living in somebody else's house where you got to live by their rules and shit. That's not cool. You know, I managed to get a couple more cars. I started to think, okay, how could I save money? How could I do business? How could I conduct myself to being a better person for tomorrow? That way I could leave something to my kids, or give with other brothers and sisters that are actually on the same level as me, or if anything, teach somebody to pass on knowledge so that the next generation can learn. That's how you become a better person, and people will know your name. You'll be living as a living legend. Stack, you're a legend. Will, you're a legend. Me, I'm a legend. We got to work on who we are now as a people to becoming better people for tomorrow, so that when we pass that knowledge on to the future generation. And a lot of people don't understand it. It's not just about looking at it from a standing point for yourself. Look at that as how you can pass that on. And by being a better person, and people will notice that. They will be seeing you, even though you don't see them. They'll be watching you.
Facts.
And that's what I learned.
Facts. You have that glow. You'll have that glow once you start doing the work. And that brings me to number 3 thing to like rebuild after a breakup is you have to master your lane in life. And a lot of times, you know, to master your lane, you gotta be master where you at to move over to the next lane. But you gotta master that lane that you in first by starting with your spiritual, your mental, your physical, your financial, and run a program that's gonna help you build. Just like Mike said, he got down where he at now, didn't have no house. Now you got 3 houses. So you gotta focus on what you can do. Your mind is a powerful thing if you focus on tapping into your inner spirit, your mental, and all the other things that come along with it. So, you know, how you feel with the importance, I'm gonna talk to Will first about this, the importance that tapping into your mental, because I know greatness comes from your failures. And a lot of times people don't realize Michael Jordan wouldn't have been great, Kobe wouldn't have been great if they didn't fail in the beginning. And a lot of times people have to fail to be great in some things in life. And a breakup sometimes is a turning point. A lot of people are here on YouTube right now because they went through a breakup, they went through something life-changing. A lot of guys are out here, they found the red pill, now they know what the red pill is, but we don't want you guys to overdose over it. We want you guys to focus on what you can do to focus on yourself to make yourself a better guy. So, Tate, what did you go spiritual with your journey or self-improvement? What was your walk like?
So the first thing I had to do was acknowledge it like I was broken, right? And when you're broke, you gotta go to the person who can put you back together. So for me, that's my Lord and my Savior. So I had to go the prayer route, right? It's like, yo, God, like, I hated this thing ended. I feel like a piece of shit, the bitch moment. But then the man kind of rose up to me. I was like, all right, dog. So what? Fucking still. Go buy some more milk. Do what you gotta do. You want to build a cow in the sense like, you want to get one of those, what they call that shit, Kobe beef, where you raise the cow and you massage it. You gotta do that for yourself, right? So for me, it was like I said, I used the stuff that was said against me as my springboard, right? So God, gave me the confirmation that like, hey, I'm still your father. I'm still in control of this, no matter what the hell happens. So started with spiritual. The counselor gave me the pieces that I could say, all right, since I got to start again building this foundation. Let me build this foundation. So it just springboarded me once again to having not only God talk to me, I had a saved counselor. So she was, kind of giving me the spiritual stuff along with the, the physical or the mental or the psychological stuff that I needed to do. For me, I knew what I needed to do. You know what I'm saying? I need to stop feeling sorry for myself, get up off my shoulders, get off my ass, and start making things happen. So with that, I started looking for a job. Found a banking ass job, right? And then the funniest thing is like I talked to my ex afterwards, so it's like, yo, and then like I say, we talked afterwards, and I was like, yo, I didn't grew. For her, she couldn't even see that I grown. So that just gave me confirmation that like, all right, you got to do this for you. Ain't nobody worried about you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you got to know at the end of the day why you're doing what you're doing. So if you're doing it for somebody else, they're not going to even give a fuck about you. Some people rather see you fall or fail because seeing you succeed makes them feel bad because they talk so much shit about you. So for me, I use all that negativity to be like, you know what? Talk about me now. Look at me now. Not because I want to show you out. I'm showing myself stuff. So it just turned into like one of those things that like, hey, I just want art for myself that I always want art for everybody else. So that's what it was to me. You know what I'm saying? It started with the spiritual, went to the psychological, then it just went to the personal. Like, yo, what the fuck you want to do? You know what I'm saying? Kind of like Mike. I started here. I've been in, where I live a couple of years, and I'm like, yo, why am I always giving to everybody else and not to myself? So right now, I'm selfish. Shit. Hey, I'm at work right now talking to doing this shit. And chicks is mad that I'm doing it because I ain't giving them two fucks. But then guess what? They still calling and texting, right? So they see me doing my work. They see me doing my plan and my person.
Yeah, a lot of times people want to be there. If they see you working on some shit, they want to be there to reap them benefits when you get where you at. So a lot of times you got to watch those finish line type people. They aren't gonna be there when you start and when you run the race, but when you win the race, or they know when you cross that finish line and something going good come out of it, then here come all the vultures and shit. So that's another thing you gotta watch it. What you say?
I said, oh hell yeah.
Yeah. What you got, Mike? Did you lead with your spiritual, your mental, or self-improvement when you made the change?
Man, first of all, let me just say this one thing, man. I cried like a bitch. You know what I'm saying? I cried like a bitch. I had to let that shit out.
Hey, Mike, you ain't crying like no bitch. You crying like a man that was hurt, man. Stop saying that's a bitch. I'm going to stop you right there. You didn't cry like a bitch. You was a man that was hurt, and you let that shit out. Go ahead, continue.
Yeah, I had to get all of that negativity out of me, all of that pain that I felt. And then, I had to pray. You know what I'm saying? It all starts with the prayer. I had to pray. I sat down on my knees and I prayed. I said, dear Lord, I'm here. Whatever you got coming for me, man, I know it's good. That's why I noticed all this shit. You brought all of this shit to me. And you basically, the shit that I knew that wasn't good for me, I tried to hold on to it. Thank you for getting it all out of my life. So he cleared that path. He's like, yo, you gotta get up. You gotta get up, it's like kind of like Rocky. You know what I'm saying? It's not about how hard you get hit, but it's about how you get back up again and hit whatever you gotta hit harder. And every time you get knocked down, you gotta get back up. That's what life is all about, and that's what life has taught me. Through failures to become successful. Now, each and every time I became successful, the same ones that left, bounced out, had no faith in me because they didn't have faith in themselves or didn't have faith in God. What ended up happening? They always see that I made progression, or they'll call me on an unknown number just to see what I'm doing. And it doesn't really matter what I'm doing. I'm living my life. Stop watching me. You know what I'm saying? Live your life. But I noticed that as a man, when you're broken, you learn a few things. You learn what to do, what not to do, who to have around you, who not to have around you. You become a better person as long as you have God in your life. That's one thing that never failed me. And anytime some fucked up shit came along, and I said, you know what? I got to be around, most of all, I have to have my faith. I have to be around God. I have to make it to be like, yo, what would I do in this position as a God-fearing man? And I got a lot of powerful people that I know in a lot of high, powerful places, high and low, that, showed me some shit and how to go about life. And the way how we see things in life now is not really what they seem. But when you take a look and you start to see what the real picture is, it's kind of like the Matrix. You start seeing shit in zeros and ones. And once you crack that code, and you start to master your lane, you become all the more forward. And some people still have a hard time reading and cracking open the book to read those zeros and ones.
Facts. If you coming in from the other stream, we live on YouTube, Stack 44. If you want to join the panel, go ahead and jump to Stack 44, and the number is in the description. The next thing I want to talk about is after you do all that self-improvement and the goals, and you know what your lane is, if you lead with your spiritual, you lead with your self-improvement, or you lead with your mental, you definitely want to make sure you keep good faith in what happened with you and your ex. So don't sit there, because sometimes people wish bad things on their ex and they're blocking their own blessings. Remember, no matter what they put you through, still pray for them and put them in good faith, because that shows, that you are a forgiving person. Because if you don't forgive them, then how God gonna forgive you? Because we all shortcome. We all ain't perfect. So you gotta at least have good faith of hope they have good, good works for their life, but you still gotta focus on yours. But don't go back, like I'm focused on me, but look at them. I'm don't be like that. You know what I'm saying? How you feel about that, Tate?
So here's the thing, man. I think he hit it, once again, I think he hit it right on the head. I mean, here's the thing, right? You can tell when a person is the way they talk about their ex. Even if it was nasty, bitter, what have you. If you have bitterness towards that person, all that shit, like you wishing bad and all that, is going to happen. If you are like, if you can get through what happened and say, you know what, it is what it is, I'm still living, I'm not dead, once again, go back to what, I think what Mike alluded to, and then what I say what the Bible says, just man falls 6 times, but he gets back up. And that's just the thing, you got to get back up, you got to dust yourself back off. And you got to forgive, right? You start with yourself with forgiveness. Forgive yourself, you know what I'm saying? Acknowledge what you didn't do correctly and acknowledge the stuff you did right. And then once you get back up and you start forgiving yourself, to forgive that other person. Hell, everybody doesn't learn the same thing. Sometimes people learn it the hard way. And that's nothing bad. That's just life. Some people got to find out that that wall is hard. You know what I'm saying? And then once you get to that point where you forgive yourself, forgive them, and then you forgive the situation. Shit, like it's over.
Right.
If you want it back, okay, take your time and work. Make sure both y'all have done that work, and then maybe you can talk about it, discuss it, but be open to like, hey, it may work and it might not work. You know what I'm saying? And I think once you go through all of that stuff, I mean, first of all, you're gonna be a better person because you did the homework, like you say, plan purpose. You know what I'm saying? Your plan is to get through this shit. Another thing that you also mentioned before was like the whole thing with Jordan and Kobe. Both of them always kept notes and kept, or whatever. Write down the good, the bad of yourself. Look at the shit that, like, you know, start having a list that has more good than bad. Like, start working on your shit.
Yeah.
Look at that every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep that at the forefront because, like I say, you will get tested again.
Facts.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. That's just life. You know what I'm saying? And it's the reason why you know you'll get through the shit is because God will get you through it. And he'll say, you know what? I'll put it back in front of you. I mean, you know, like I said, we're going to take it back to the Bible. Here's my good and faithful servant Job. Man, Job went through a lot of shit. If you want to say, I mean, I know it's kind of weird for me to say that, but you know, he went through a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like he got it back times two. You know what I'm saying? So like y'all say, you will get that good person. You'll get that good spouse. You'll get that family that you want. You'll get that peace that you want from that person that you desire to have. It just takes you to go through these tests in the past. You might fail it a couple times. Hell, a lot of us just took some remedial classes, whether it was in high school, elementary school, or in college. Who cares? It's all about you passing those tests. And once you get past those tests, life will start to get a little bit better. Like they say, game ain't changed. It's just how it come at you. You know what I'm saying? But you can get through it. It's platforms like this. It's being able to talk to people. It's also having a relationship with your creator. All that stuff is designed to make you better. Because before you leave up out of this speech, talk about Earth, you got to get through these tests because you got to give it back to somebody else. Facts. That's it.
Facts. And if somebody was trying to call in restricted, I don't answer restricted calls, be honest. And if I do, I'm going to screen you. You ain't going to get on if you're a troll. So you want to call back, I might check it, but you're not going to be on the air. So I'm going to screen you. So I don't really do the restricted call. You can't call, like, showing your number, then don't call, be honest. All right, Mike, what you got? What you got with holding good faith for your ex?
Man, I only say it like this. You know, you gotta throw them pennies in the wish you will. I'm gonna come around. I wish you will. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just only do and be on the peace with myself. I don't even bother with or be concerned with them like that. Just as long as they don't interfere with my life in a negative way, then that's cool. But you know, I just go about it like this. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. Don't interfere with my peace of progress, because like I said before, and like Will said, I will treat it like a business transaction. Unless you bring in peace in my life, you keep it cool, that's cool. But don't fuck with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm a man on a mission. And I will handle my business as a man on the land. Okay. That's pretty much, that's about as best as I could say it.
All right. So during this recovery period, and how long? I always say you should be waiting 6 months to a year to literally, like, literally start back reconnecting with people. I mean, you could go on dates, but you shouldn't really want to get serious with somebody after a long breakup to like 6 months to a year to refine who you are as a man. And I mean, it depends. If it's a 10-year, 20-year marriage, you might need 2 years, 3 years. But if it's like a breakup, you need to make sure you don't, a lot of times people make people rebounds. And when you rebounding and monkey branching off people, then you destroy who you are as a man and as a woman. And then you'll run around talking about dudes ain't shit, women ain't shit. You'll have that negative energy because you didn't do the work, the proper work to sit back and go through it. You got to go through the pain. It may hurt for a minute. It may hurt for a couple months, but it ain't a lifetime. So sometimes you got to go through the pain instead of pushing that pain on somebody else. So make sure you do the recovery time. I'll add with Mike. How you feel about recovery time, and how long should recovery time be, in your opinion?
I mean, honestly, in my opinion, I agree with you on that. With my situation, it took about 2 years to recover. You know what I'm saying? Because I was dealing with it times two. You know what I'm saying? Two individuals that I was in a relationship with at that time. So one, I was still in the recovery mode, but then when I got out of it, I got put back in it by the current one. So I said, you know what? I'm going to work on myself for 2 years, and I'm going to keep continuing to work on myself. It's a relationship, you must improve in life. The shit don't stop, no matter what it is. I mean, it could be 6 months up to a year for certain people, and that's good. But I say, you know, the improvement, it never stops. Even when you're in a relationship with someone, the improvement, it never stops. And until you feel satisfied with where you want to be at, that's cool. But me, I'm gonna take it a step further. Me, I don't want to be working anymore. I want to run my own business. I run my own business on the side, but I want to be to where I'm so comfortable. Me and my girl that I'm currently with, we ain't gotta work. So the shit don't stop. Progression never, ever stops. As far as working on yourself, getting out of it, 6 months up to a year. But in my case, it took me 2. I had to figure out where my mental was. How am I going to go about it in this situation? How I'm going to get past this situation financially. Okay, this individual doesn't want to cooperate. I'm going over their head. It's like dealing business. When you see that people don't want to conduct business the right way, you go around them. Don't go through them. Go around them. When you go around them, you'll find something else better behind them or over that obstacle. Because that's all it's about. It's about overcoming your obstacles in life and making more opportunities for yourself to where you are in completion of the goal. You got to get around that goal. You got to climb over a wall to get that shit. Sure, it may take you a few times. Sure, you may fall. Sure, you may be a little fucked up and frustrated, rolling on the floor and everything like that. But once you get up enough times, you're like, man, I'm getting over this shit. I want what's behind that wall. And then eventually, when you get it, you fight it, you struggle with it, and you go over that obstacle, instead of climbing over that wall, you may have not noticed the fucking door to the right. Just go to the fucking door. Okay, cool. I'm going to go through it. I got the key. You go through the door rather than fighting with it, trying to climb over that shit. Go around it.
Well, how long? My bad. I thought you were done. So, Will, how long you think recovery time that a person need to refocus before they even start back dating and stuff like that?
So my thing is, I'm gonna say it like this: the minimum of a year. I don't care if it was 6 months, 2 months, whatever. Minimum of a year. You know, go through 4 seasons, just to kind of see how you are, how you feel. I mean, yeah, like you said, you can date, you can do some shit on the side, but you know, minimum of a year. The other thing is, it's the same thing as they say in Philly. It's called trust the process, right? You can't rush the breakup process. I done tried, not a failed. Every time I done tried to do that jump. You gotta go through the process. You gotta experience the want to get back, get up under something new, all that stuff that they say. Because until you do that work on yourself, you're gonna find yourself right back in the same situation. So I say go through the year. You know, at minimum, I say at least go through 3 seasons. You know, depending on when the breakup was. Like you break up through the holidays, damn near a year. You break up in the summer. I mean, you might be able to kind of bounce back because it's still the summer, but take the time, do it the right way, so that way you ain't gotta waste time and keep doing the same shit. Or, as I like to say, you stop being that toxic partner where you date somebody knowing damn well you really don't want to be with them. You're just trying to not be lonely. Like, take the time, do what you gotta do for yourself. I mean, like I say, it's an investment. You should be your best investment. Put that work into you, because that way, when you come to the next person, hell, I done did the work. What you bringing to the table? You know what I'm saying?
Facts. Next thing I want to bring up, and we're almost done, but it's kind of going from the 6 month rule and all that extra stuff, or a year, whatever you want to say, to you know, before you reconnect with a person. What type of new boundaries should you have before you allow a woman back in your space or during that process? Because it's gonna have to be boundaries. You're gonna have to set up a force field. Like, look, you know, I feel like you should have an honest boundary. I've been through a breakup. This is who I am. You get to know me as a man. We could date, but I'm not trying to get to something. You know, you gotta be. Sometimes you gotta be flat out honest. But it's other boundaries that I feel like, you know, you should have. Like, you know, even people spending out of your house consecutive times or whatever. Even if you just dating. And I start with go back to Tate on boundaries. do you feel like it's a certain amount of boundaries, or just your word is your bond is enough, or is certain boundaries you need to focus on so you won't slip back and go down a slippery slope and find somebody just, you know, back in your life like a girlfriend?
I mean, here's the thing, right? If you don't have rules, it's just like Martin Luther King. You don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So you gotta have your own set of rules that you follow. You know what I'm saying? Because your word is your bond. And if you don't even do what you say you're going to do, how the hell can somebody else even respect you enough to even follow what you're saying you're doing? So have your own philosophy. I mean, you know, have your own timeline of like, okay, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to do that.
But I'm just saying, during that timeline, what type of boundaries you need set up so you can catch yourself? My bad.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the same thing. Like, you make up your boundaries. Like, if you can't handle, let's say, having sex or fucking somebody, don't fuck nobody. It's simple. Like, if you gotta go jack off or go get to a machine or whatever, go do that shit. Like, you're doing it for you. You're doing it to keep yourself sane and keep yourself out of some bullshit. Like, you gotta go hard for you. You know what I'm saying? So, like, your boundaries may be like, all right, I can't fuck with nobody, or I can't even talk to nobody, or I can't talk past 10 o'clock to somebody. And if somebody comes along, okay, tell them what it is. Like you say, you ain't got to lie on your shit. Most people get it. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be a man of your word or a woman of your word and do what the fuck you say you're going to do. Now, if you breaking your own shit, how the fuck you expect somebody else to respect your shit? That's what I'm getting at. You come up with your plan, you come up with your purpose, and you live that shit. You rock that shit. Even when nobody else is paying attention, you doing that for you. And you know why you're doing it. It's to keep yourself out of some other shit.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, I don't know. It's just
you gotta know when you're ready. But I will say you set your own expiration date of your, well, I won't say expiration date, or your start date of a new journey once you're done with the journey that you're already on.
Yeah, like, I mean, here's the thing, right? If you got somebody you're talking to and y'all both come up with a plan, y'all follow. You follow. You know what I'm saying? But if you get to the point where, all right, I'm past the, well, you never going to be past working on yourself, but you know what I'm saying? You got yourself back to a good state. All right, let me figure out, like, what parameters I need to set. What do I need to do? And then you do that. Like, can't nobody be mad at you if you're on your shit.
Right.
The only time somebody's going to be mad if they try to disrupt you and they see that you can't be disrupted. So it's a personal journey, but it's like, hey, in the end, you got to know it's worth it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like working out. You don't get the big body and the big arms and the flat ass stomach and whatever just by, you know, doing one day at the gym. It takes time, it takes repetition, it takes a plan, and it takes you following that shit. Like, you can go work out, but if you eating fucked up, guess what? You ain't gonna have no six pack, nigga. You gonna have a cake, but it's gonna be alright. You know, you can get on your shit. That's what I'm getting at. You just gotta follow.
Facts. Mike, you got anything you want to add on boundaries and setting new boundaries during your journey?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it like this: you gotta set some boundaries that's in your, you know, on your journey before and while you're in the relationship. To be honest with you, because if, like Will said, if you ain't standing on whatever it is that that you living by, then it's not gonna work. You breaking your own rules, you breaking your own codes, and that's not gonna yield results toward the end. I say, you know, another thing too, before you get in a relationship, know what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept, because no relationship is absolutely perfect. That's going to be what you're dealing with at one point. And when you're in that relationship, let that individual know, you know, hey, listen, this is a code that I go by. You know, I can understand if you don't want to stay. If you with it, that's cool. If not, it was nice knowing you. But make sure you stand on that shit, because they're going to be holding that. They're going to be holding that, you know, in with you. You know, if you're not on your shit like you're supposed to be, then it's not going to end well with you. Because these individuals, they will hold you to that shit no matter who you're dealing with. Like, oh, okay, how can I be with this person? And they, you know, they're not enforcing whatever it is that they told me that they stand on. So that's going to show that they're weak. Right. And they're not going to really have any respect for you. So when you stand on that and they say, hey, look, you know, you want to get with that honey, you want to have, you know, a little bit of nice time with her, and, you know, you want to get down, you got to say to yourself, okay, cool. Am I down with this person just for the sex, or am I down with this person because we have an understanding? We are in agreement with each other. How can we work with one another, and how can I stand by what I said that I'm going to do? Because when you do that and you say, look, I mean, I'm not really trying to have sex. I'm really trying to progress. You know, all of that stuff is going to come in due time. But for right now, no, I'm working on me. And they'll respect it. They'll be like, damn, you know, I like this person a lot. I think I'm going to fuck them even more. You know, so that it is what it is.
Yeah, I know a young lady right now been dating a dude for 4 months, and she's frustrated. She hit me up on consultations, and she tells me that this guy is not even trying to have sex with her, but he spends the night and everything. And I'm like, well, he might got a certain type of boundary that he's working on, and sex might not be, that's part of his self-improvement, not having sex. You know, a lot of times, you know, I feel like everybody's boundaries are different. Everybody's rules are different. So just like you said, if you don't like the rules, get out the house. Sometimes, you know, because when you in somebody else's house or somebody on somebody else's program, they gonna have some certain set of rules. So, you know, I feel like it's good for you to have some type of boundaries so you can, you know your worth as a man, know your worth as a woman. And if people can't respect your boundaries, then they gotta go. They can't be anchors. If they can't respect your boundaries, they nothing but anchors to your ship. So you don't want that. So that's how I feel about it.
Here's the thing, that I mean, if a dude is with you and he ain't having sex with you, you can look at it one of two ways, right? And just like how we look at politics, we can say, oh man, he's real respectable and he's respecting you, or maybe there's something else going on where he don't want to necessarily go there with you. Maybe you have a situation that he don't want, he'd be like, nah, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? So here's the thing, right? With that young lady, I say, look at it like this. This man is respecting your body. He's not forcing you to do something that you don't want to do. Even if you want to do it, you can bring it up in conversation. Hell, you get 2 for 1. Hell, you get to talk to this man and see what his plan and his purpose is for you. And then you can have a different type of intimacy because you're now talking about things. So you can't jump because, he ain't trying to smash. Like, fucking is easy. Let's just be honest. All it takes is a hard dick. And there you go. So for him to have that type of control and restraint, I mean, my hat's off to that dude. Yeah. I will almost say to that caller, you know, why does he have to fuck you? What makes you be the one he has to fuck? Because sometimes people, you know, once you get around somebody, you kind of be like, yo, you trying to trap me in so many ways. Not trap me, you know, it's like you trying to trap me. Like you want to move so fast so now I don't see what's really to come with you. But when I slow it down and I get to see, all right, maybe your shit ain't all that tight. Maybe you got bills. Maybe you want to do this because you just want easy access to somebody else. All right, maybe we can't go there. And I think sometimes we so sex forward that we forget about reality is really what it is. And if your reality ain't straight, shit, like you mixing up more shit in the Kool-Aid. Like, no, you can't make the shit say it's flowers.
It could be an attraction thing. There's something there that he might not be so quick to grasp to, or maybe it's just something that he may be dealing with. But at the same time, you know, you got to make it interesting. You can't just really want to go and jump in the bed like that. You got to find other things to do.
I think, be honest, sometimes people go through something physical, and I've experienced this with some people in my family that they may get sick or something and they can't perform, and he might have been sick in the past and he couldn't perform, and then the woman left him. So he's probably not sick now, but he's testing her for 4 months by not giving her sex because he's probably been sick before. And since he's been sick before, she's got to pass the test, because if she passes the test now and if they do get intimate, he get back sick, then he'll know she's with him more than just sex. I know it sounds backwards because that's what women do to us, but shit, unfortunately, he doing it to her. So it could be something like that, though, guys. But I know that's a little tangent. Let's get on a couple more things before we get out of here. On the no contact thing, I want to talk about no contact again. Why, if you're gonna put a person in no contact that you should deal with, is it cool to reconnect after you did self-improvement, got that person out your system, or you just let it flow and let it come back whenever it come back, or should you reach out after you just cut them completely off? I'm gonna start with Tate.
I was about to say, here's the thing, right? If it's meant to be, it'll come back. It'll some type of way, it'll present itself. Y'all have a conversation, and you will know that it's meant to be. I think too often, sometimes we go looking for shit, and me included. I ain't like I done mastered that shit. Hey, there's certain people sometimes I feel like I want to reach out to, but it's like at the same time, I had to tell myself, take your time, really understand where's the desire coming from. But sometimes it might be that loneliness. Even if you did that year by yourself, when you did that work, you still may get lonely. You know what I'm saying? You do miss people. Like, I think we can't take the humanity out of relationships. Like, we still human. It's just don't get caught up on the dumb shit in the humanness. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay to miss somebody. In fact, maybe instead of go telling that person, go tell your homie, go tell your cousin. I ain't gonna lie, I talked to my aunt before about some shit. And like my other had to say, like, you can't get mad at him or her because, the heart is gonna do what the heart is gonna do. You know what I'm saying? You can't get mad because you see that's a bad situation and they keep messing with it. It's just like loving somebody who has an addiction. Like we started off this whole conversation. Love is an addiction. Sometimes we get twisted on somebody else. But that's okay. It's just don't get stuck when that addiction is not serving its purpose with you and in your life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just, you got to be honest, man. And I think that's the biggest thing. Be fucking honest with yourself and be like, you know what, Lord? I can't keep doing this. Like, what is it? The Lord might reveal it, like, that's just your heart, but your heart is tied into a bad situation. Let me take your heart, let me make you whole, and I'll put a situation where your heart can be better, what's the word? Like better equipped for this type of situation. Like you say, do the work. And like Mike has always said, do this whole thing. It will be another person or another situation later that's much better.
And sometimes it's just, you got to realize it's just your turn. They wasn't yours. It's just your turn. And it's a matter of what you do with your turn and what you learn from your turn when you deal with people. Because that's really what relationships are. At the end of the day, it's just your turn. Mike, you got anything you want to add on no contact? Should you allow the contact to come back, or just don't worry about it, or keep them cut off?
Man, I say the situation, it is what it is. Whatever's going to happen is going to be. You have to learn to accept that. And I say if there's no contact, and the shit just don't go nowhere or whatever, I just say just leave it the way it is. It's meant for better things. It's meant for better things. It's meant for greatness, and that's where I'm here. You involved in much greater things, and you get it back on. But like you said before, it's just your turn. You got to do what you got to do with it, and then, you get into something else. It's like getting in the car, man. You can't hold on to that shit forever. Some people try to hold on to a car forever that's giving them problems, and when they get out and they get into something else, they say, hey, man, I like this car better than I like the last car. So you gotta learn to accept that and fucking floor the gas. You know what I'm saying? All gas, no brakes, nigga. Fuck that lemon. Give it the good shit.
For real. Facts. All right. The last thing I want to talk about, and it's kind of going back to what we should have talked about, like when you was rebuilding, and I left this out. And I feel like a lot of times when people do go through breakups, is, sometimes they turn to the wrong things. And I want to make sure you guys turn to the right things, like keeping your health, your wealth, your mental. But the negative thing you could turn to is using alcohol, using drugs, using pills, overeating, getting into bad habits because you're fucking depressed. I feel like, I hate to end it or go to the end like this talking about what not to do, but or talk about the negative part of things that could happen on a breakup, is remember when you go through a breakup, you gotta still find yourself. But if you lean to food or lean to drugs, it could cost you your life. One of my friends I grew up with got divorced, and last summer he literally got so drunk he ran to a semi, ended up killing himself. And I don't know if it was, deliberate, but he didn't want to do the work. He just wanted to keep drinking every night and, going through the pain of the 12-year marriage he had, and he ended up killing himself. And, I think it might have had something to do with the pain because his ex-wife didn't even come to the funeral. And then I'm not trying to put the light on her. Maybe she couldn't deal with it. I don't know. But all I know is at the end of the day, guys, like if you go through something, don't turn to drugs to make you feel good, or don't turn to multiple sexual partners to make you feel good. That's another thing that happens. A lot of times people, they turn to multiple sex partners to make them feel good without doing the work. And then they lose themselves in the process, not only with the drugs and stuff like that. So I'm going to start with Mike on this one. How do you feel about just make sure you stay away from drugs and things like that so you can focus on yourself, because that could give you a slippery slope and probably could end your life?
Man, I say this, that's never a good path to go down that road. I actually been down that path where I have, quite a few women coming at me, trying to get with me and shit like that, but I didn't really want to deal with them because I knew what it would end up being, and I had to take a time to reflect on myself. Like if I was to go ahead and actually go down that path, how will I affect somebody else's life? So, I manned up. I was just like, look, I'm not doing or getting myself involved in any of that. I don't do drugs either. You know what I'm saying? I see some of my family members go down that route and literally give up or die. I had some that died from, AIDS. I had some that died from a crack epidemic, sharing needles and shit. And I wasn't going to go down that path because I know I'm meant for greatness. I'm just so sorry that they had to go through that. But making myself a better person, taught me a lot. I actually had a girl that she was a bit too clean, and I had to get away from her. And I actually found out the truth about her later on, that she went and her cousin, put her on to cocaine, and she was cutting herself. I said, look, I don't really think you need to go down that route. You just need to better yourself. And, with that being said, I pieced her out. I was like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Just take care of yourself, because I sure as hell wasn't going back to that shit. Right. And, I told her to seek help. Better yourself. Don't get involved in that shit. That's the wrong path to go down. And I think what it is, too, is, like you said before, a lot of people don't want to put in the work. You got to put in the work. Nothing is going to come to you easy. You have to become successful by learning through your failures and accepting it. And just say, hey, this and that happened to me. Am I here to cry? Or I'm here to put in that work to make it better for myself, rather than just sit there and walk around, because that ain't going to help you. God helps those that help themselves.
Facts. Say, you got anything about somebody, going to turn to alcohol or drug abuse or overeating or just, jumping from bed to bed to please themselves when they go through a breakup?
I mean, like you say, an addiction is an addiction, regardless if it's, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to mask, right? So, like Mike said, you got to do that work. And you got to know why you're doing that work. I mean, like I said, it may have started off incorrect, but I mean, it can get right. You just got to know why you're doing what you got to do. Just like working out, like you say, health is wealth. Maybe you started working out because that nigga called you fat or she called you fat. Okay, that's cool. But just know why you're doing what you're doing, and then it should change. If it was a wrong reason, it should change right. Going to drugs, alcohol, other people, all that shit is going to do is make you be more fucking work. So why would you even do that? You know that? Like, do what you got to do. I mean, suck it up. It's a part of life. Like, either you're going to pass the test or you're going to keep going to the same flipping test where it makes it just that much longer to he wasn't supposed to be and cause more headaches. Do what you gotta do.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, do what you gotta do. Get to your 8-man corner, get your accountability team so it keeps you straight. So that way, once you get to this lesson, you get what you gotta get, and you good. You Gucci. But if you try to, not do the work and try to cheat, you already know this shit ain't gonna last.
Facts.
You just playing yourself. Hey,
Facts.
what they say? You played yourself.
Facts. Make those goals, make that vision board, see a vision of what you want for yourself. And if somebody come along, make sure that person compliments you, not complicates you. So with that being said, tomorrow night, we're going to talk about is a single life, if the single life is that the best life? So
no.
We'll find out, but is a single life the best life? That's going to be the topic tomorrow. Is a single life the best life? And I mean, I know it's pros and cons with that shit. I ain't gonna lie, but it's pros and cons with it. Single life is kind of cool. For certain people, I know I enjoy my single. I enjoy my peace. And for a woman to come in my life, if she's gonna be a piece to my pillow, then she's more than welcome to come in. But if you're gonna give me a headache, I'm good. I can do bad by myself. Anyway, but almost you got anything you want to close with on this topic tonight, Will? I mean, Tate, before we get off this and say what you want to say, and then I'll let Mike go next.
I mean, my only thing is, man, I hope anybody who's listening on these airways is understanding that, like, we keep it real, we keep it honest, we've been through it, we go through it, we all experience it. But here's the thing, the reason we're able to tell you what not to do or how to go about it is because why repeat the same bullshit? Doing the same thing in certain different reports is lunacy. So do what you gotta do. If you gotta call Stack 44 and say I need consultation, cool, hit them up. I mean, that's why you got this resource. If you need to talk to one of us, hell, hit us up. Follow us. We definitely put our the way to get at us in the chat. But here's the thing: you got the keys to get out of this shit. Use the keys. Don't try to go do the Slim Jim to break your way out of some shit when you can walk out through that door. You want to go through the window? Fuck that. Go through the door. So my thing is do the work, have your plan, know your purpose, and I mean, in the end, we all want to see you win.
Facts. Couldn't say it no better. What you got, Mike? What you want to say to everybody on this topic before we get off here?
Man, I want to say, thanks, Stacks, for making this wonderful program. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people can learn from this shit. I wish I would have had this kind of advice when I was younger. And being that I have it now, I'm even more grateful for it. He saved a lot of people's lives. He saved a lot of, people from going to the point of no return. I want to say thank you for all the guests that joined in. Tate, I want to say thank you for being here, bro. For all the people that couldn't be here or that couldn't make it that had to be at work, I know y'all was here in spirit. I want to give a big thanks and a big shout out to God most of all, because without him, we would have never even met each other and give each other such sound and great advice to become better as a people and to share our thoughts and the communication skills more than ever and what we've experienced in life so that others can learn from that and reap it to their benefit and reward. I just want to say, even though times are hard in life, just be the best that you can be, no matter whatever it is that you're good at, but do it in a positive way. Show other people that have lost their way to get past on that lane to play their part in life and be better at whatever it is that they're going to be at. Just make sure you do it the right way. You fall down, get up, dust yourself off. That's how you learn in life, because if you were born by yourself, you're going to die by yourself unless you take it out of the people with you, but we don't advise you that you do that shit. But, peace and love be on to all. I just want to say thank you for having me here. I've learned a lot. Whatever it is, any experience that you're going through in life, good or bad, just learn from it and make yourself a better person. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, facts, man. I'll holler at y'all tomorrow, man. Hopefully y'all call in. I know Catherine, she was moving, so she said she was gonna call, but I think she got caught up. Moving is hard, so but we'll try to catch her. Hopefully Mo come back to the channel And anybody else that want to call that really got something on their heart, call in. And this is the best time to get the free consultation with multiple people is to call in on these lives, because during the week I have to schedule my consultations, but doing the lives is free game. It's free for you to call in and ask your questions or join the conversation and tell us what you've been through so we can give you some advice. And this is for my subscribers. This is for my new subscribers, my old subscribers. This is for everybody. For somebody that's passing through that wants some advice or just hear a good conversation between some grown-ass men and grown-ass women on this platform. So, Stack 44 is my YouTube channel. I know I'm on other streams as well right now, but a lot of times people don't know where we at. But come on to Stack 44, subscribe to the channel, join the chat, join the line, whatever, Saturdays and Sundays. But before I get out of here, I will just tell you guys to attack your life, stack up your life. And I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. We're going to talk about is a single life the best life? And at the end of the day, I've been single, I've been married, I've been bachelor, I've been all that. But we'll get into that tomorrow. But that's the topic for tomorrow. If you got some things on your mind, the guys know the topic. I know they're going to come with that heat. But we'll see tomorrow. So I'll holler at y'all tomorrow. Peace, y'all. Good night, y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Is a single life the best life? Call in for that.